Welcome to Moeller's Wide World of Pottery. I have a little gift for you all tonight. I am going to make a paper pattern pot. I'm going to get started tonight. I've got this sheet of paper. I'm going to show you how I make my patterns. It is going to be magical. Are you ready to get started? Well, hey, let's do it. You know what? I was thinking some of you may not have any clue what I'm talking about. So here's the deal. This little beauty right here, yes, this little beauty right here, this was made with a flat sheet of clay. And I know what you're thinking, hey, well, that's a flat piece of paper. How did it get round? Well, here's what I'm going to show you. I have these wonderful little patterns, and I'm going to show you how I take this and I figure out how this little beauty right here becomes, you know, something like this, where there is a body, a cone in the middle, and there is this wonderful little foot, and I've added some other little doodads onto here, but this wonderful little cup, I'm going to show you how to make it. So let's get started. I'm going to change my camera so that you can see the whole rest of the process a little bit better, and I also have some other resources that I'll share with you in the folder along with this video. Sound good? All right, let's do it. So what I'm going to show you, yoink, is how I came about with this idea. This particular cup, as you can see, matches just like this little pattern right here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I start with an idea and how I go from this flat two-dimensional pattern to this three-dimensional, what I'm going to call a truncated cone. And what I mean by a truncated cone is it's a cone that doesn't have a point. So it might terminate like right out here, but for this one, it's just open. And then this band right here becomes the top. And I make the bottom a little bit differently, but I'll show you that at a different time. So let's get on with it. The first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to fold our paper in half. Why I do that is because it allows me to have a perfect mirrored image on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch out an idea. I want to think about this because I want to draw it actual size. So whatever size I'm going to make it, and right now I'm kind of just concerned about making it kind of simplistic. Now this technique is going to require us to have straight lines. We'll be able to add a little bit of dimension. As you can see, I can push this out or I can stretch this here after I'm done with it. But this technique is going to require every line to be straight. So if I come up with something like this, this is probably going to be pretty average cup size. I want this to be actual size. So this is our first step. And the only thing that I might do to make this just a little bit better is go ahead and use my ruler and refine these edges. Now what I have out in front of me, this is going to be half of this. And you know what? I'm realizing this is kind of big because when I open this up, it's going to be almost this big, and that's going to be a really big cup. So I just thought of this. I'm going to take my paper and I'm actually going to fold it back a little bit more. Boom. Well, that doesn't look quite right. I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to go right in the middle. That's what I'm going to do. Boom. So my next step is this. I'm going to make this out of two pieces. This is going to be number one. This is going to be number two. So let's get through it. Let's cut it out. One thing I wanted to mention is that every time there is a change of direction where it goes in and then it goes back out, that becomes its own separate piece. Thus the 1 and the 2. So now I have my two pieces. That looks like a pretty nice sized cup, kind of comparable. I'm going to go ahead and show you the next step. This is where I'm going to insert a giant sheet of paper that I just happen to have. I have a giant roll of paper that I came across, and what I need to do is I need to make this cone part, because that's what this is going to be. If you can see, there's a lot of similarities, but this isn't the right size. I'm going to take my pattern and I'm going to move it down towards the bottom, and I'm going to transfer this to my sheet. As you can see, what I have left behind is just a shadow of this. The next step that I need to do to be able to create that curve is to extend these lines until they terminate in a point. That is going to give me my axis to put a compass on. Where should I put this little compass? It doesn't make much sense to put it here, because what line am I going to connect to? That's not going to be right. I could put it over here, but that's not going to be right. So always go towards when these 2 points intersect. Can they intersect down here? Absolutely not. One little reminder, this bottom, even though it doesn't have to be the bottom of the cup, because it has the most surface area, think about the weight. The weight is always going to go down. So let's take our compass. Extend that pencil a little bit. And we are going to go down, as you can see, to this point and this point. The termination of that trapezoid. Look at that beautiful curve. Oh, it's wonderful. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and this is going to help, and you can't quite see this whole thing, but I'm going to back this up. I'm going to take my ruler right here, and I'm going to draw a line from that center out here. What that will give me is a nice even line to cut on. So I'm going to cut here, I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to cut here. Now remember, I still need to do this piece, and I want to show you, remember, on the cup, this side is going to be the lip. This side is going to attach to the cup. But because there's more weight on this side, I'm going to place it down like this on the bottom of the paper. So, as you can see now, I have a large section of this. Wow, that is huge. I don't need all of that. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to take these and I'm going to overlap them so that this edge is parallel with this edge and this edge is parallel with this edge. And I'm going to overlap them. Right about there, I'm going to start. And the idea is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right in there. And I know when I have the right amount, when this will just kind of fall right down in there. It's a little loose, tightening up a little bit. Perfect. Do you see how that goes across the top nicely? That is about exactly what I need. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to draw a line from the bottom of this all the way to here. This is now the piece that I need that will make this. So if I were to tape this together and I was to put these side by side, they would look exactly the same. That should fit nicely in there, and that should fit nicely in there. So let's do the other part. Now remember what I said. Even though the lip of the cup is up and the cup itself is down, I'm going to put the weighted side, the wider side down. And one of the reasons why I used the Sharpie marker the last time is because this paper is kind of flimsy and I want a nice line. But as you can see, if I hold this pretty tight, I can use my pencil and I can get a pretty sharp line right across here. So again, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to extend that line, that edge, because I can't really extend these lines this way. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to take this and draw somewhere down here. That makes no sense. So I'm going to continue on that line, and I'm going to continue on that line. And as you can see, if I leave myself some notes again, this is the lip. This is the cup, and that's okay. And I know it's upside down. So once again, I'm going to take my compass. One thing you should be careful about is, do you see how bad those lines are? I tightened this compass down and now I can do this a little bit better. Now, if you don't have a compass at home, there are so many ways you could use a piece of string and 2 points. This will be okay. And again, here, and I'm going to go right up to the top of that line. Boom. So I'm going to cut here, 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 and here. Watch how fast I can cut this. So again, I have this piece. I'm going to overlap those 2 parts. Hopefully I have enough. As you can see, I didn't make an entire circle because I know that I only need like a quarter. And man, I'm getting really pretty close. Look at that. Open that up just a tiny bit more. Is this going to be like perfect? No. Oh my gosh, look at that. Perfect. So, number 1, I drew out my top and my bottom. I went ahead and connected those 2 points, used my compass to draw a big arc, cut those pieces out, shaved down what I needed, and now I have my 2 puzzle pieces for this form. Bottom not included. Hey everybody, I forgot one thing. I really wanted to figure out the bottom. Now I made this that is for this, and this one is for this. But, you know, I do the bottoms a couple of different ways, but I wanted to show you one kind of simple way. Plus, it answers a big question. How do I make a cone? So, what I am going to do is I'm going to first just take a measurement of the base from here to here. Now, it really doesn't matter if it's perfect because it will fit this one. So I just take my ruler, and now I have to figure out how much rise I want. Like this one bulges out a little bit at the bottom. I kind of like them to go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of pick, I like this. So if you think about it, the bottom is going to go in. There's going to be a cone in at the bottom. I think it'll look nice and it will have like a little foot all the way around. That's pretty much how I made these. If you can see inside, this is a cone that goes up into the bottom. So I just try to make sure that I'm in the middle. So when I measure this, oh wow, that's about 4 inches, perfect. So I'm gonna go to 2 inches and I'm gonna draw that up. And one thing I was really thinking about is making sure that my pattern is very, very strong. And by strong, I mean, is it straight? Are the lines nice and symmetrical? If I have a wonderful pattern, then everything else is going to be super easy. So this is going to be my base, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go ahead and do this. So again, I'm going to take my compass, and I don't have to extend my lines because they already came to a point. This is the beauty of a cone versus a truncated cone. I don't need to extend these to a point. So I'm going to take my compass, instead of having all that trouble, so I'm going to tighten it. And one thing I want you to see is if I hit that point, do you see how it hit that point and that point? If I don't do a very good job, that line might migrate over here. but I have a nice angle right there. So now let's cut it out. So one thing I found is that if I cut this shape out, I will not have enough material for my pattern. So I'm going to try something to make this a little bit quicker. Is I'm going to cut one line straight to the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I remember this is 4 inches. This line from here to here. Now it's not 4 inches through the center. If it was 4 inches through the center, it wouldn't make a cone. Crazy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this and I'm going to lay it on my ruler and I'm going to look at that line straight through the center. And I think that's going to work right there. So you see there's a little bit of extra. Not much of the pie came out to make that, but that looks pretty much like what our bottom is going to be. Let's do a little tidying up. So we've accomplished quite a bit. We made these 2 pieces, started out with that idea, and we've transferred them to the 3 patterns that we're going to use to build it. All right, see you next time. I really hope you stick around because I'd like to show you how I take this wonderful pattern that I just made and I turn it into this beautiful cup. Please, everybody, stick around and you are in for a treat. Have a wonderful evening and happy potting.